Hello everyone, welcome back to a new post today. And today let's speak about the Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan's visit to Brunei Darussalam and Malaysia from today, that is May 30th, for a 3-day visit. Malaysia is an important part of India's Look East policy, which was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2014. India has very strong ties with the East Asian countries, cultural, commercial, military ties with Philippines, Singapore, Vietnam and Cambodia. We just spoke about India and Cambodia's relations yesterday and also the culmination of 70th anniversary of diplomatic ties between India and Cambodia. India has strong economic relations apart from cultural, military and commercial and historical ties with these countries. It has signed free trade agreements with Sri Lanka, Thailand and stepped up its military cooperation as well with them. It has numerous free trade agreements with the East Asian economies, including a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement or CECA with Malaysia and an early harvest agreement with Thailand. It is negotiating agreements with Japan, South Korea and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, that is ASEAN member states. Ties have been strengthened with Taiwan, Japan and South Korea. We are a partner with Japan in the Quad grouping and South Korea over common emphasis of democracy, human rights, strategic interests. South Korea and Japan remain our major sources of foreign investment in India. Apart from that, India has very strong leadership economic ties with the other East Asian nations. And today, let's speak about the Minister of State for External Affairs Muralidharan's visit to Malaysia and what is the significance of this visit. And let us look at some recent developments that have happened between India and Malaysia. We just last year celebrated 65th anniversary of diplomatic ties between India and Malaysia, and India and Malaysia is an important component of the Look East policy of India. The minister will take part in the inauguration of the first ever Persons of Indian Origin Day in Malaysia, which is called as the Apravasi Divas, and he will also launch the PIO International Festival from the June 2nd to 4th. The persons of Indian origins in Malaysia, let me tell you, are the largest communities. So Malaysia as one of the largest communities of persons of Indian origin or PIO in the world, closely about 2 million, and they constitute 7% of the Malaysian population. This overwhelming number of PIOs are mostly Tamil speaking, with a significant percentage of also Telugu, Malayalam and Punjabi speaking Indians as well. The Malaysian Indian Congress, let me tell you, is a dominant political organization of the PIOs since the pre-independence and is a member of the ruling coalition since independence in Malaysia. Lately, there have been several splinter political organizations that have emerged, and there is a significant PIO support to two opposition parties, that is the PKR and the DAP. Malaysia has been sending the largest contingent to the Pravasiya Bharatiya Divas that is being held in India in the month of January. Now, this 2-day visit to Brunei will engage with the Indian diaspora members in this country. It is also estimated that there are about 14,000 Indians that have made Brunei their home. And after this, the minister's visit to Malaysia will form it is the first Indian ministerial visit by the Indian minister from our side to Malaysia after the formation of the new government in Malaysia in November 2022. Let me remind you, just last year in 2022, India and Malaysia celebrated 65 years of diplomatic ties between the two countries. Now, as per the schedule, the minister, that is Minister of State of MV Muralidharan, will discuss with various Malaysian dignitaries and leaders of Indian community associations and leading business association. But the highlight of this visit is the first Persons of Indian Origin meeting that will be held, or the Persons of Indian Origin Day in Malaysia that is be celebrated, and the PIO International Festival as well. Let us look at briefly what are the recent developments in India and Malaysia. As I told you, because Malaysia is an important part of India's Look East policy. Both countries are full-fledged members of the Commonwealth of Nations. Apart from that, the Asian Union and the G15. India and Malaysia are also connected by various cultural and historical ties that date back to antiquity. The two countries have excellently friendly terms with each other, as Malaysia is a home to the stronger concentration of Indian immigrants. They have regular summit-level exchanges between the heads of the government and the heads of the state, and meeting between the two countries is very frequent. Apart from bilateral visits, we have meetings during very multilateral fora and also the regional meetings as regional grouping meetings as well. We also have a bilateral extradition treaty that was signed in 2010, a bilateral treaty on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, a double taxation avoidance agreement, and also a MOU on cooperation and mutual assistance in custom matters that was signed in 2013. India and Malaysia have it all. With the coming into force of the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, the trade between the two countries has got a further fillip. Both the countries have celebrated 65 years of bilateral relations in 2022 and further made commitments to boost the trade even more. India and Malaysia now have moved beyond settlement of trade in dollar to settlement of trade in Indian rupees, and this announcement has been seen as a decisive step towards the de-dollarization and an effort to safeguard the Indian trade from the impact of the Russia war in Ukraine and its subsequent fallout and sanctions as well. Let me tell you that the government of India through the Ministry of Finance has informed the Lok Sabha in March 14 during the budget session that banks from 18 countries were allowed by the RBI to open special Vostro rupee accounts in the Indian banks for settlement of payments in Indian rupees to make trade payments very comfortable. Malaysia is one of these 18 countries that figured in the statements that was laid out by the Ministry of Finance. Now, the India International Bank of Malaysia, which is based in Kuala Lumpur, has operationalized this mechanism by opening a special rupee Vostro account through its corresponding bank in India, that is the Union Bank of India. Bilateral trade between the two countries as of 2022 is $19.4 billion, and the announcement now in settlement of trade in Indian rupees is only expected to further boost the bilateral trade to overcome the currency obstacles. Malaysia, let me tell you, is the third largest trading partner of India in ASEAN, after Singapore and Indonesia, and that account for $30.1 billion and $26.1 billion bilateral trade with India respectively. As of the Government of India's Act East policy and to counter Chinese aggressive moves in the South China Sea, the Indian Navy destroyer, that is INS Delhi, has made a port of call just today to Malaysia. INS Delhi will dock at the port Klang in Malaysia for 3 days. India, apart from this, offers 25 slots under the ITEC program and 5 under the Colombo plan to the students of Malaysia. India also offers 30 scholarship for studies in graduate, postgraduate and research programs in the universities in the countries. Both countries' defense cooperation is also very deep, with frequent exchanges and participation in bilateral exercises as well. In the defense, both the countries have a India-Malaysia Defense Cooperation Committee, or the MIDCOM. Both sides sends naval ships and delegations for the biannual Lima, that is the Langkawi International Maritime Aerospace Exhibition. Now, let me tell you that this was established in 1991 and it is held biennially. Lima is one of the largest maritime and aerospace exhibitions in the Asia Pacific. Apart from that, both countries participate in the bilateral exercise called as DSA of Malaysia, Milan Defense Expo, Aero India regional events as well. And India is also participating in the cooperative mechanism on the Straits of Malaysia and Singapore, that is SOMS, and contributed to 2 of the 6 IMO projects, that is Project 1 and Project 4, for enhancement of navigational safety and environmental protection in the Straits. So this is all about the recent developments between India and Malaysia, with both of the countries just celebrating 65 years of strong strong bilateral diplomatic ties, and now this further visit will only strengthen the ties. But the most biggest highlight of this is the first PIO meeting that is being held in Malaysia, because Malaysia itself sends the largest contingent of PIOs for the Apravasi Divas of India. It only shows the rich people to people connect between India and Malaysia, which is only further growing. I hope this information was really helpful to you all to lay the foundation and to build up on your answer writing skills for this. As I told you, 1 year from now your mains will be approaching again, and this is a golden time which you can use to prepare and achieve your goal, make it a reality. If you did like, please do like, share and subscribe, and I shall see you in my next post. Until then, it's very happy learning.